My mother, Katia Doria, is a human I consider to be emotionally and mentally strong. She raised my two siblings and I all by herself and was able to overcome many difficulties in the process. In 2005, she packed what she could in a suitcase and left everything behind in Colombia to give my siblings and I a better life. A lot of aspects of my personality come from her and what she has taught me and what I've personally seen. I will discuss why she is such an important person in my life. My mother is emotionally and mentally strong. We lived in a very high society, a very important society in Colombia, and the culture was very sexist and stereotypical. The man would take care of the business, the maid would clean the kitchen, and sometimes watch the kids, but the mother raised the kids all by herself. The mom really never works in Colombia, in the society that I grew up in. And she was able to live like that for around 10 years before she decided she couldn't take it anymore. She decided to leave my dad and start a new life in the States. That's not something that any person is willing to do. It takes a certain mentality to start a new life, not knowing what's going to happen in 2 weeks' time, not knowing what job you're going to have, where you're going to live, where your kids are going to go to school, and I admire her a lot for that decision. My mother worked 3 jobs to maintain my siblings and I never complained. We never went to bad schools and always had food on our table for dinner. That's not something that's usual for a single parent household. Uh, it's not usual for you to have a great education and live in a great neighborhood when you only have a single parent income. And I never attended bad schools. I went to school with students that ended up going to Yale University or Stanford, and that's something that she worked really hard for us to be able to be educated in a better society. I admire my mom so much because of the faith she has had when we were growing up and up to this day. Little by little, I have seen God work in her life. She went from working at Macy's and cleaning other people's houses to babysitting to working at warehouses to doing every job that you can think of to becoming a spa director at a hotel in Miami Beach. She's been working there for about a year now, and that's an opportunity that in like 5 years ago it wasn't something that you can see in her life, in her future, because of their circumstances. um, she has her own apartment now, she has her own car, she goes on vacations with her friends and my family, and that's something that really seems very normal for people, but coming from her and what we have been through and where we were 10 years ago, it's something that's very it's a sign of success for us. It's something really simple, but when you come from where we came from, it's not something that is very attainable. And I'm very proud of her for literally just having her own stuff. That's something that a lot of people grow up with, and that's not something that we grew up with when we moved to the States. She believed in me when no one else did. I know this sounds very cliche, but she did. From a realistic person's point of view, attending any university, especially CBU, with such a high tuition rate and such a private institution and in such an expensive state, was not something attainable for my siblings and I. She borrowed money from people so I could attend CBU and talk to anyone she could so I could have my tuition covered. People like us don't get opportunities like this, but she made it happen somehow, in some way. And um, now here I am, my last semester of college, with 2 international internships under my belt and at the top 10% of my class, all because of her. All the opportunities I've had in the past 3.5 years have been because of her and what she has done in my life. My mother's faith was the only thing we had when there was nothing else to look forward to. We moved over 13 times because of different reasons, but she never quit. She never wanted to move us back to Colombia. She never wanted to just disappear or move somewhere else. That was easier for her to handle. It was something that she never thought of. And somehow we were able to have vacations and travel to places such as Puerto Rico and New York, and only because our circumstances didn't define how we lived our lives. And that's something that only comes from faith. And it's something that only came from my mother's faith. My mother's faith inspired us each day to continue working as hard as we could to have a better life. We all had part-time jobs, my siblings and I, and became very independent at a young age. She taught us how to work hard for what we wanted and how to not depend on other people for that. My mother's personality and strong will inspired me and shaped my personality as well. Her work ethic is something that I admire and I have learned from. I have 3 jobs and I intern abroad twice. I work at the financial aid office here on campus. I'm the opinion editor and the social media director for the school publications. Plus, on top of that, I still have homework. I still have a social life, and I do everything with excellence because she taught me to do that. And I interned abroad twice at a nonprofit in Spain. That's not something that a lot of people do, and it seems very unattainable. Yet she somehow gave me the faith and the willingness to do that. She taught me if you work hard enough, you do get what you want. You can't just sit around and wait for opportunities to happen to you. No one can tell me that I cannot do something or achieve something, and I also get that from her. The possibilities of a single mother raising 3 children might be limited for some, but for my mother, it inspired her even more. She taught me to be limitless. You can always be a better version of yourself if you try hard enough. My mother inspired me to be independent. You don't need to lean on other people to get ahead in life. You can do it all by yourself. Like, yes, it's great to have a father or husband figure in your life. It's great to grow up with a stable family, but that's not everything. You can still get ahead. You can still be successful in life and have a good mentality, a strong mentality, and an independent personality without having these aspects in life, because not everyone gets those opportunities. She also taught me not to let other people make decisions for you. You set your own goals, you set your own achievements, and you can't let other people decide those factors for you, because it just changes or shifts your life in directions that you don't want it to go, and you end up regretting it in 10 years or something. She raised me to be fearless. She raised me to be independent and to be fearless. I traveled to Taiwan. I didn't know the language. I didn't know the culture. I traveled to Spain and I had no idea what I was doing. I went inside of a metro in Budapest, Hungary, not knowing the language, not knowing where I was going, yet I still went for it because she taught me that. She taught me to be fearless and to be independent and to not be afraid of strange and new things that or uncomfortable situations that come to us in our lives. In conclusion, the presence of a mother can shape who you are in various ways, and my mother's presence did that for me. Her mistakes and imperfections are so minimal compared to her strength and willingness to endure and keep on fighting. There's nothing that she could do or say that will make me think less of her. Her mistakes don't define who she is. None of our mistakes define who we are, and that shouldn't be more important than the good things or good aspects of our personalities or good traits or good characteristics, because that's what really matters. That's what should stand out more, the goodness in you instead of the bad. And that's why my mother really inspires me.